now ex-wife hated me for it. My own mother hated me
Hmm.
for it. I went through a lot. And it was the first time I really had the courage to do what I knew was right for me and be disliked.
That's huge. Welcome to Shine a Light Podcast. This is Christine Miles. I have my guest here, Jeff Munn. Let me tell the listeners a little bit about you, Jeff, before we dive in here.
Okay.
So Jeff helps high-performing founders and executives stop overthinking and start creating. After 25 years as a lawyer, consultant, and corporate executive, there's lots to know there, I see, Jeff. Jeff knows what it looks like to be successful on paper, but also knows what it feels like to be stuck in survival mode. Now, as a transformational coach and creator of Creating Extraordinary Futures framework, he guides mission-driven leaders to move from burnout and pressure into clarity, freedom, and momentum. Wow, welcome. That's quite a fascinating background. I
It's a
can't wait to
mouthful,
learn
isn't
more.
it?
Well, it's a good mouthful. I mean, how many people feel like they are successful on paper, but feel like they're in survival mode? Let's start there.
Just about everybody I come across. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like we're conditioned to put up this wall, this veneer, this shiny outside. I mean, you
Yeah.
can tell when you ask someone how you doing, and they say, "Great."
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, let's
I
talk.
remember one time I was on a golf course with a friend of mine who worked for a large company, did very, very well, like had the job, it would seem. And he couldn't wait to open a fishing shack somewhere. Like that's like, and I'm like, that's not what you want to do. But we're on the golf course and he had this job offer where
Uh-huh.
the salary was going to be pretty good or matched and less responsibility, but really more interesting things that he wanted to do. And I'm like, Jeff, and a different Jeff,
Yeah.
you're taking that, right? And he went, oh, I'm just not sure. And I was like, tell me more. And he
Yeah.
goes, I have it pretty good.
Uh-huh.
It's hard to walk away from the golden handcuffs, so to speak, in terms of what keeps you in corporate jail, even if you're really successful. So he ultimately did take that job, spoiler alert, but I
How
was
do you do?
perplexed.
How was
He
it?
did well.
Great.
Yeah. But, it was interesting knowing that he wasn't happy,
Hmm.
how willing he was still to stay. And I'm
Right.
imagining that's what you help people unpack a little bit.
Yeah, I call it the curse of good enough.
Hmm.
It shows up all the time. It's like, I don't know if it's worth the risk. Like I'm feeling called by my heart or by this thing I can't explain
Hmm.
to like take this risk to do something different. And it's really hard to get people to make the leap, especially if they have kids who are approaching college age, or
Mm-hmm.
they have, they've got financial goals and they're on their track to meeting them. I remember one of my early clients, um, she hated her job, and she had a,
Hmm.
really good position in kind of
Yep.
a startup within a larger firm, one of those kind of deals. And she said to me, "Yeah, but I'm making so much
Right.
money.
Right.
I can do this. If I can do this 10 more years, then I can do what I want."
Hmm.
And I said to her, "What if you could make the same money somewhere else, actually doing what you want today?"
Wow.
And that's what we created.
Hmm. So let me ask you a question. So when you hear that from somebody,
Yeah.
how does that make you feel? When
Oh,
you hear that answer?
awful.
Yeah.
Awful. I mean,
Yeah.
I just looked at her. It's like, do you think you can survive that 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds horrible.
Mm-hmm. It is kind of like what people feel they need to survive, though, isn't it? Just to get through it,
Yeah.
so they have the yeah,
Yeah.
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 So where did all this start? Like, take us back to the beginning, as they say. Take us back. Where
Wow.
did this start for you? I know that's a big question, but it's important to get the context. Where did you begin all this?
So I'll pretend you're my therapist. Um,
Not far off. I was a former therapist, Jeff.
I
So
believe it.
just
I
so you
believe it.
know,
I mean,
so the hat's always on, but I'll try to take it off for you.
I I grew up feeling like I wasn't the kid my parents expected me to be.
Hmm.
So let me tell you a little bit. My dad, amazing man, he died in 1988, so he's long since
Wow,
passed.
long.
But
You were young, very young.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
And he was the high school quarterback. He was the
Hmm.
homecoming king. He
Oh
was the
boy.
class president. He was
I
Mr.
feel bad for you already, Jeff.
Everyone loved him, and I loved him too. He was an
Of
amazing guy.
course. Sure.
Um, and my mom looked at me, and she never said it, and it took me a long time to like unpack. Oh, this is what was actually going on. So it wasn't
Hmm.
like anyone. This wasn't an explicit
It
message. This
wasn't
was an
discussed.
implicit
It
message.
wasn't like you're a disappointment. You just felt that
I just
somehow.
felt, yeah, it's just like I was this kind of pudgy, sweaty, brainy,
Hmm.
unpopular. I mean, I wasn't unpopular, but I wasn't like homecoming king, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I think she just looked at me and just thought, I thought you'd be different.
Hmm.
And I figured out at an early age that I was good at school and that it was a way that I could kind of get the pat on the head,
Hmm.
attaboy, whatever. So I got really good at school. Um, I, was not, well, a 7-way tie for valedictorian in a class of 700. So,
Still
um,
not too shabby.
I mean, I got
Yeah.
straight A's, got straight
Yeah.
A's in high school, got almost straight A's in college. And like school was my thing. That was my
Yeah.
sense of self-worth and all of that. And as I did um, high school, college, University of Illinois, law school, University of Chicago, which
Wow.
was like,
Yeah.
you know,
It was it.
a
You were
high
the homecoming queen or king of law school.
not
I just want to
really,
pause
but
for a second.
I
Let me just tell those that are just listening, because this is, let me go psychology for a second. This is so important. And happily married and living in Denver and all that. But here's a guy that's talking like you're a handsome man. You've obviously been successful in many areas of your life. I just want to paint the picture for those who don't have the opportunity to see you on video. It's just so interesting what expectations does to us, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it's almost like your dad was a Hollywood actor, that he had such a star that the comparative analysis was like, I don't got
Yeah,
that.
it's like I'm always
Yeah,
gonna fall short. Yeah, and it wasn't like my dad was without flaws. Like
of course.
he never graduated from college.
Hmm.
Like he never took any risks, and that was like a whole other
Interesting.
side of like, that kind of good enough. He stayed in the same
Hmm.
job for 30 years. He never, he had opportunities to move and get promotions, and he like said no.
Played it safe. He played it safe.
He played it safe, 100%.
Interesting. Okay.
But when he went back to his high school reunions, he was the guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
So keep
yeah, yeah,
going. Tell us
yeah.
more.
So
Yeah.
where are we?
You went
So
to
I'm in
law
law
school.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at some point, you're kind of big fish in a small pond, and then biggish fish in a slightly bigger pond, and then a not
Mm,
so big fish in a you know
yeah.
like the spotlight was on. I couldn't keep playing this game of, oh, I'm just the best student. In law school,
Yeah.
I was like average. Like
Mm,
these people were brilliant and their
yeah.
brains worked in a way that my brain never could. And I had a hard time with that. I started having panic attacks. I started
Mm,
feeling like really self-conscious that I didn't this was like a pool I didn't fit into. Um and I went to a law firm where I did end up on the partner track, but I was looking at the partners and they were all miserable.
hmm.
And it was really the first time in my life that I thought, I'm not sure, like I was really good at doing what I was supposed to do to feel successful.
Okay. To look successful.
Yeah, to kind of
Yeah.
present, right? To
Yeah.
present as successful. And I was like, I don't think I want to do this. And I
Hmm.
had a friend who was a lawyer. He and I had met because we worked together on a mutual client. He was a lawyer at a consulting firm, a HR consulting firm that was, really a great place back in the day. No longer exists, but um, and I started talking to him like, what would it be like to be a lawyer at this consulting firm? And I didn't realize it. He had recruited me like a couple years before, and
Okay.
it was like
He asked you
anonymous.
out and you didn't
Like, I
notice?
can't tell you about the position, but it's blah
I
blah blah.
see. I
So
see.
I didn't know that, and so he hired me, and I spent 15 years at that consulting firm, made partner at that consulting firm, and it was a
Hmm.
lot different environment than the law firm. But
Was that your first major risk that you took? Was that a risk in your mind?
it was a risk because it was not like, usually if people left the law firm, and I had this happen to a good friend of mine, it was because they had been told they weren't on the partner track. If
Not
you were
because
told you were on the
they didn't
partner
want to
track,
be.
you
Yeah.
generally stayed.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
it was not the usual. It was an unusual fork in the road.
So let me see if I get you. So
Yeah,
that's your moment of you knew you weren't going to quite be happy. That's your first kind of I didn't think I'd be happy as a lawyer moment.
yeah,
And in the typical way that
yeah,
people were lawyers then, right?
yeah. Well, and there were a couple things multiple things going on. First of all, like, kind of the stress and the panic attacks and all of that. Um, I had started meditating,
Mm,
and it was beginning to work a little bit. I mean, I think probably at that point I was just kind of becoming personal work aware. I don't think,
mm,
like, I'm trying to put the years together in my head. I think it was shortly after I got to the consulting firm that I actually started the meditation practice.
okay.
But it was this kind of personal development. There's something I'm missing here.
Okay.
There's more to this than, being in the partner box,
Yeah,
in the
just
partner
that on paper
identity.
thing again, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so once I began to start meditating, the panic attacks went away.
Hmm.
Um, I started actually being able to have real conversations with people and not just listening to the voice in my head wanting to respond.
Yeah. Good for you. So it settled your whole system down.
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
just kind of started to calm down, started to sleep better, started to self medicate less, all of those things, right?
Isn't it? So I'm going to comment on that, if I may. So we learn to listen to ourselves, we listen to others better. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
How that happens?
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
important, right?
Um, and I, one of the things, well, so first of all, um, I started getting promotions
Hmm.
because I was like actually, showing up.
Yeah.
I was
The whole you.
actually
The whole you.
the whole, not quite yet, but more of me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
more of me because I wasn't telling everyone. So, a few things going on at this time. One, I got this big promotion that required me to move, and I was given a choice at the time between Detroit, where the firm really wanted me to go, and this was Detroit in like the late '90s, uh, and Washington D.C. And I
Hmm.
chose Washington D.C. So I was a little bit, a little bit of a rebel there, I guess. Um, so get the promotion, change what I'm doing in the firm, had been named a partner in the firm at this point. And this was already my third job within the firm in the span of like 5 years.
Okay. So
Um, I
quick
had gone in
promotional.
as a lawyer, and within a couple years was managing a group of lawyers that were
Hmm.
all more than 10 years older than me, which was a fascinating experience.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yes. It's
Yeah.
always that's a
Uh,
lot of us. Yes.
And but shortly after I moved, you were talking about on paper, and I think that's so interesting. Like my first wife was great on paper,
Mm,
and it was not like it was news to me how unhappy I was in my marriage. It like
mm,
suddenly like the meditation and the just the work with my own thoughts was like,
yeah.
oh, I'm miserable.
Hmm.
And so
Back to
that
the job. They relate, don't they?
they do. And that was like the
Yeah.
next peeling of the onion,
Mm,
right? That was really the first, the decision to leave the law firm. I could spin that as, well, this is an opportunity to be even more successful at a bigger place. And that's
yeah.
kind of the story that I told myself. Um, the divorce, uh, I I mean, my now ex-wife hated me for it. My own mother hated me
Mm.
for it. I went through a lot. And it was the first time I really had the courage to do what I knew was right for me and be disliked.
And
And that was
how was that?
huge.
That's huge. Is
That was
that
huge.
is that a lot of what people struggle with? That you see that you work with? Is that fear of what it will do to others, how the perception will be? Is
Yeah,
that
it
part of the
showed
work?
some of it is around being liked, some of it is around meeting other people's expectations, some of it
Yeah.
is around what if it doesn't work, I mean, people just create these boxes for themselves and like willingly live in them and don't
Yeah.
see that they're the ones creating the box.
Yeah.
It's like
And
you're in prison and you're holding the key.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see lots of different versions of that. I've got a client right now who he had a bunch of stuff with his dad growing up. Um, he never felt like he was enough.
Mm,
He became incredibly financially successful, like built a company that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
wow.
And the game that he plays with himself so that he's never enough is either he's never enough for people to just love him as he is,
Yeah.
or he's built this financial success, so now whenever anyone wants to like interact with him, it's not because of him, it's because of the financial
Sure.
success, and he doesn't trust them. And it's like,
It's
wow.
well, it's so. I mean, I really appreciate you sharing your backstory and where that comes from, and even the vulnerability about sharing about your divorce and recognizing good on paper there and what that means. Because I think so many of us relate to that and that vulnerability. The box gets created early, and
Yeah.
it's you said something really important. It's the story we tell ourselves. So
Right.
that look you saw on your mother's face. She never said it. I'm not saying she
No.
didn't say it non-verbally, but the story you heard was, "You're not dad,"
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so that begins the box, right? So we create that, and then what? How do we get out of that? That box just gets the walls get stronger, not
Right.
necessarily. They don't fall down easily unless we break them down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I really think that that's what we're all building toward, is how do I actually just show up as myself
Hmm. Yeah.
and be okay with that. And for me, I've been lucky enough that when I was starting out in my coaching business, I was showing up the way I thought people wanted me to show up.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until I started actually just showing up as me that the business took off.
Yeah.
But,
How long have you been working as a coach?
um, I'm in my 10th year. So
Hmm.
August of 16 was when I got laid off from my last corporate position. I had been trying to build a practice on the side up to that,
It's
but
hard
not.
to do it on the side, isn't it?
Yeah, and Fidelity had rules around, because they're like FINRA regulated, and rules around outside activities, and they're very kind of
Well,
hyper
with a name
focused.
like Fidelity, I mean, come on, how
Yeah,
could you do something
yeah,
on the side?
yeah, yeah, and so there was a lot, and my boss really felt like if you weren't thinking every moment about Fidelity, you were kind of
Yeah,
betraying them somehow. He was
yeah,
very dyed
yeah,
in the wool,
yeah. It's
long
well,
long.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
it can be done, but it also can be hard to build
Yeah.
that kind of.
I never had any success. I know that's the standard advice is kind of, well, just build it on the side and then leave when it's, but for me, I needed the sheer terror of having nothing else.
Yeah. Well, and again, I go back to how you started, which is
Mm.
what you're trying to help people overcome,
Yeah.
right? Is
Yeah.
that the sheer terror of what it means to let go of what surrounds us that makes us feel safe but miserable,
Right.
right? I remember I was moving and I had to put stuff in storage, like my belongings. And
Uh-huh.
when I went back to get it, I'm like, This is a prison block. This is what this is what this." I said, "Oh, your stuff keeps you in jail. That's what this does." So
Yeah.
it was
100%.
like, yeah, and but we have our stuff. We work hard to build this stuff, and then whatever we letting it go is profoundly terrifying
Right.
to take a different path, right? But it doesn't mean we have to give everything up, if I understand. You're not saying let go and give everything up. You're saying letting go leads you to the next level.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. I got into a conversation at an event I was speaking at recently with someone he had built two or three companies and like sold them, and young guy, like really successful. And he asked me a version of a question that I get from a lot of people, which is, yeah, Jeff, I hear the whole thing about, kind of letting go of your stress and being more calm and present. And I get that. But um, he was terrified he would lose his edge.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, I have this functional dysfunctionality right now
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it terrifies me to let go of. And we
Well,
spent
that's an
some
honest
time,
comment. That's an honest comment.
yeah. And I
It's
run into
really
that
honest.
all the time, right? It's like, well, and I've heard different versions of well, if I was calm, I would just sit and eat bonbons all day. Like literally those words, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you wouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
try it.
Yeah.
You're creating to like fit into this narrow story right now. If you get rid of that story, you just get to create because it's fun to create. And I
Mm.
guarantee you will create because that's what we're here to do as human beings.
Yeah.
We don't create, we're bored. Yeah,
Calm and boredom is two different things, isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
We
we
confuse
equate,
let's yeah,
yeah,
let's define that a little bit
yeah.
because go ahead, calm and boredom. Let's talk about that
Yeah,
from your
calm is
perspective.
like presence, and it's like having access to that quiet thing that's been wanting to come out through you, right?
Mhm.
Some people might call that a purpose or a calling or
Mhm.
whatever, but
Yeah.
if you actually clear the head trash enough for that stuff to show up, it's been
Yeah.
there waiting for you all along. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a different version of what you're already doing. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's something totally different. But
Yeah.
like being willing to be surprised,
Mhm.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we're chasing though, we're running, and when we're
Uh-huh.
bored, we're running.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot around that the fear of boredom is that what will I do?
Right.
And when finding that contentment is it's a different place than
Who
being
was it?
bored.
Who was it, Christine, who said something like, the hardest thing for a person to do is to be comfortable with their own company or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Just to be in a quiet room by yourself is like torture for most people.
It can be. I mean, certainly
Yeah.
the world's not supporting us to do that anymore
Right.
anyway. I
Yeah.
don't want to be on a soapbox here because we all know that there's so much noise and distraction, and it's really hard to find a space to just not look at our phones and not be. I mean, the average adult spends 6 hours and 40 minutes online daily outside of what they're doing with
Wow.
work. So
Yeah.
we're in a frenzy in a lot of ways, and chaos is addictive and stress is addictive, and we know that the word function lives in the word dysfunctional. So when
Well, yeah.
something starts for one reason, it continues for another. And that's kind of not kind of, that's a lot of what I hear you saying is we start out with one purpose and for one reason, but we continue it and it jails us over time. If for some
Mhm.
of us, not for everyone, but for many of us
Right.
that feel this trap that we're stuck and we can't get out.
Yeah, because we keep thinking, if you're in a traditional corporate career or you're in a legal career, there's like these steps that keep getting fed to you that keep these little carrots that keep you going,
Oh
right?
yeah,
It's like,
they hook
oh,
you.
the promotion from director to VP,
Yeah.
or from VP to SVP, or the promotion from associate to partner, or partner to senior partner, right? There are these tracks, and you think, oh, well, the next one,
Mm-hmm.
that's where it gets really cool. That one, I'm definitely going to be happy there. And we keep falling for it
Yeah.
over and over and over again. And
Yeah.
then to your point about attention, I mean, it's so much worse than when I was growing up. I mean, we're literally, how many devices do we have, and people, like, it's how do we, not only how do we get someone's attention, how do we monetize their attention? Our whole
Yeah.
economy is built around getting people's attention. And
It
so it's
is.
really hard to keep that for yourself, for
Yeah.
your insides rather than your outsides. And
Well,
yet,
without practice.
yeah,
Without practice.
yeah, and there's such power in it.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to say, as someone who is, let's see, coming up on 30 years of meditation practice.
Yeah. It's a skill for you.
Yeah, and it's something that it's relatively easy for me to just fall into.
Yeah.
Um, but when you're starting, I mean, I remember it's hard,
It's
and
hard.
the progress is slow.
Yeah.
It's incremental,
Yeah.
but it's so
I have, as a person who's tried yoga.
worth.
So I just want to say, I find meditation is hitting a ball. That is when the world melts away for me. That's when I'm in a meditative
Oh
state.
yeah,
So, oh yeah, the ball comes at me and I'm like, there's nothing else there
what
but the
kind of
ball.
ball?
But you pretty much name it, I'll chase it like a dog.
Okay. Okay, I
So,
didn't know if you were
but
like a tennis player or
well,
like a golf
yeah,
ball or
I did. It was interesting, as we all have a story. And
yeah.
part of when you were describing just being, I remember when I'm going to go back in time, when Christopher Reeve, Superman, got
Yeah.
hurt when he
Yeah.
broke his C1 cervical
Mhm.
spine. And I had an auto accident at a very similar time. I, thank goodness, wasn't disabled to the extent that he was. But I was very debilitated from pain. And I remember listening to him a lot, and how he learned to be, instead of to be with his kids rather than to do things with his kid, because he was an activity
Mm,
junkie.
yeah,
I mean, he was Superman in make believe, but he was an avid athlete, and he was always on the go. And
right.
I was in my 20s late 20s when I had my accident, so I was chasing the goals and the achievements as well,
Yeah.
and career wise, and then my world halted. So when it's
Wow.
taken away, it's very different than when you choose for it to be taken away. But either way, you got to learn it if you want to feel like it's okay to be with yourself and who you
Well,
are, and not have that.
I mean, that's a great point, and I think it's very hard for most people
Yeah.
to voluntarily choose
Yeah.
that different path. I mean, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was trying to go out on my own as a coach for years, and then even after I got laid off, first thing I did instinctively was look for another job,
Yeah.
because I was terrified, and I was like, I don't know that I'm ready. I don't know that I can make this work yet, right?
Yeah.
And I run into founders who, um, a few of them are pretty good at saying, "Hey, this has to stop. I've got enough
Yeah.
warning signs." But a
Yeah.
lot of them will, maybe it's the end of a marriage, maybe it's a health issue, maybe it's the health
Yeah.
issue of a significant person in their lives, that they, something happens where, like, it forces the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This podcast is called Shine a Light for a reason. And that's really like, there's always a story hidden beneath the surface.
Yeah.
And that's in conversations with others. But what I love about everything that you're talking about is, again, it's really how you first listen to yourself and
Mhm.
what's showing up in your own life, and being attuned to that in a different way. You might have to, that might have to come to on your own, but you don't have to figure it out all on your own. That's the difference.
Can I
That
ask you a
there's,
question, Christine? Because I
sure.
struggle with how I struggle with this for myself, and with, my clients. For me, it took me a long time to be able to listen to myself, to
Mm-hmm.
even know what that meant.
Yeah.
Like, how do you, I was all about other people's expectations, managing my mom's anxiety. Like, I was
Yeah.
very attuned to what was going on outside of me and not very attuned to what was going on inside of me.
Yeah.
How do you help people with that?
Well, I appreciate the question. I think it's really the same way you do it with other people,
Hmm.
and it's look. This is an emotional intelligence skill. This is a skill that most of us aren't going to the gym to do.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not great at knowing how to do it. But it's really about asking yourself the same questions you would ask someone else, which is,
Mm.
tell me more. Like,
Hmm.
something comes in, I'm not feeling great today. Tell me more, Christine. Why is that? Like, you
Yeah.
can ask yourself these questions. We joked earlier, as a former therapist, I've been to therapy. I got childhood stuff too. I was taking care of my mom at a very early age. It's part of why I came to this work, understanding her pain that most people didn't see. But it's learning to put that light on yourself.
Hmm.
And it is counterintuitive for so many of us. And let's speak to mothers out there who are taking care of kids, and we're taking care of other people, or we're distracting ourselves from those questions with others and ourselves. So it's about slowing down
Yeah.
and simply asking those self-reflective questions first about, why am I feeling this way? How do I feel? Every single day.
So
And
what about like
meditation's a great
just
space for that.
journaling or
So yeah, that I mean, all those traditional, there's books that you can get. You can get
yeah,
questions with prompts. If you're not good at asking yourself those questions,
yeah.
Google I need a book that asks me those reflection questions, and you can use a voice note. This is a
Hmm.
different world now. You can journal. There's something very kinesthetic, obviously, about writing,
Right.
but I think but it's really what everything you're talking about. It's really just slowing down enough to start asking and start paying attention to the inputs and not just
Mm.
giving the outputs.
Yeah.
And that takes practice, just like meditation does. So even if it's one question a day, pick one question a day to ask
Yeah.
yourself. And that's really how you tune in.
Yeah. I mean, I have found even to have sensation, like bodily sensations,
Yeah.
like where do you feel that?
Yeah. That's a
People have
great
no i-
self-reflection.
people have no idea, and it brings them into the present moment. It brings them out of their
Yeah.
little thought.
Well, here's the story for you. I was going to physical therapy when I had a cervical spine injury. I had 3 major surgeries. It was after my
Wow.
accident. Yeah. And I couldn't hit a ball for 12 years plus. But I went to a physical therapist. Anybody who's listening who's had back problems, it's a different kind of thing. It's just different.
Mm.
And, I was miserable with stabbing pain, all kinds of things. And he was having me do simple chin retractions.
Mm.
And he's like, how do you feel? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. He goes, wait, nothing down the arm, nothing down the side. And I went, oh no, I feel that and that. And yeah, it's stabbed there. And he goes, wait, 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 wait. What's the matter? He goes, no pain, no gain. He said, no, 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 no.
Yeah, isn't that
Not no pain,
interesting?
no gain. Now we're going to listen to pain and we're going to adjust. So he
Uh,
taught me how to function when I was in a level 7, 8, 9, 10 pain all the time. Don't, what to sit on, what not to sit on, just what you're describing, how to tune in. He just taught me the mechanisms to do that. And that's part of listening to your physicality. Where does it hurt? Where am I feeling that, rather than how am I feeling? What is that feeling?
what I love what you said there is it's a different version of what I go through with founders, which is you had a story that, oh, pain's good,
Athlete, no
right?
pain, no gain. You're
Yeah.
supposed to
Yeah.
feel bad.
Yeah, of course. I got to just suffer through it. And
Well, the
yeah,
running did
there
make me
are,
suffer.
I mean,
Yeah,
there are people, yeah, it's like, how much can I push myself?
yeah,
And if
yeah,
I'm not breaking,
yeah,
I haven't pushed hard enough.
yeah. Well, and so let's go to so I just want to add this,
Yeah.
and I may get on. So pain isn't bad. It's just a signal.
It's
It's like,
information.
it's
Yeah.
information. So
Yeah.
nothing's pain free.
Yeah.
So it's painful to lean into the terror, as you
Hmm.
described.
Right.
That's pain. It's just, which is more painful, to live miserably or to lean into that fear. again, that's the decision point. Those are the questions to ask yourself. That's how you listen to yourself.
Right.
What's the risk benefit ratio here? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so like there is this really fine line between fear and excitement,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm. Yeah.
And so if excitement is fear, like the emotion, the physical sensations are exactly the same.
Hmm.
And so if you can be in that place of like, I don't know if I can do this, but that would be really cool. Like that, like
That
that's really
changes
kind of
that changes the
optimizing it,
story you
right?
tell yourself,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
It's like, yeah, I'm going to try this and I may fail and that's okay. And I will learn about myself in the process. And I just feel like drawn to whatever it is. You and I, before we got on this, we were talking about public speaking. Like,
Yeah.
people are terrified of that, right? But I know with me, it was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of terrified of that, but that'd be cool if I could do that and like survive it and learn from it
Yeah.
and do it again. And now it's something I love doing.
Yeah.
I love the energy of it. And I'm always
Mm-hmm.
nervous beforehand, but it's
You're kind of supposed to
it's
be, right?
excitement, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
your body
Yes.
preparing. It's like I'm going to
Yeah.
be more activated and alive and engaged than I
Mm-hmm.
would just sitting on the sofa watching Netflix.
Yeah. Eating bonbons.
Eating bonbons, yeah.
So Jeff, as let's spend a few more minutes, but let's do this. For those listening, what are the questions? What are the two or three questions you think people that might be living the life that it's good on paper, but they're not sure if it's the right life for them, they should be asking themselves, or that you would ask them in a conversation so that they could start thinking differently or analyzing differently?
It ends up being a different version of the same question. So I find no matter where someone is on their path, there is something that they know they need to do that they've been putting off. And they keep thinking, I need more information.
Mm-hmm.
I need to think this through. I need to be practical. I need to be whatever. And the truth is, they're just scared.
Mm.
So that would be my first question: is what's that thing you need to do?
Okay.
And and
Okay.
and
Just name it.
you've known it for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, fess up.
With yourself.
Yeah,
This is
say it
okay.
out loud. Say, or say it out loud. Tell a friend. I've
Okay.
been thinking about opening a
Mm.
coffee shop, whatever it happens to be, right?
Don't do that. That's what your friend's gonna say.
Yeah,
You got
that's
a
not
great
right.
job.
But like, I just want to say this to you. Yeah, and
Yeah.
don't choose the audience that's going to tell you how impractical that
That's
is.
important because
It's very
people
important. Yeah.
people want to be helpful, but they rush to that solve. So
Yeah. Well,
pick
and
your
they
audience.
and their own fears show up too.
Of
Because if
course.
because if you can do that, Christine, then what does that mean? What does that
Sure.
mean for me? And what's my excuse for not doing that?
Right. Yeah.
And then you don't have to solve it all in one day, but you can take one really tiny action and learn from it. Like maybe someone who does that thing. Call them up.
Oh,
Go to
so
lunch.
just ask. So just take a step is what you're
Just
saying.
take
Ask the
one
question,
step.
take one step.
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah. What's that
take the
thing? Identify it, take one step. And
mm,
then you're going to learn something from that one step. And then take the next step.
mm.
And then take the next step. And you keep doing that. In a year, you won't even recognize yourself.
So I'll go back to the athletic background.
Mm-hmm.
January 1st, we're not that far off, but the New Year's resolutions are coming. And one of them is
Yeah.
we're going to go to the gym. And it always, as someone who, again, doesn't like to run, but loves to chase a ball, we all think we need to do these big workouts to
Yeah.
really get in shape. And it's really about starting with 10-minute walks.
Yeah.
It's not about doing, because we don't tend to, they're not sustainable when we go into these big ideas for super long. So you're saying small things make the big difference, right? Take
I
those
hate New
small
Year's
steps.
resolutions. I
Yeah, they don't
actively
work generally.
discourage people from making
Yeah.
New Year's resolutions because they always fail. Not always, but almost always
Yeah.
fail. And then we feel bad about themselves. Why would we do that
Yeah.
to ourselves? So what we do is we train ourselves that, I can say something, but I'm not going to do it. And
Hmm.
how helpful is that?
Yeah.
Like if you can't trust yourself to do what you're committing to, you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah. Well, here's what I've learned about, and all I want in my life more and more is for people to just do stuff for me. But the busier I've gotten and the
Mhm.
more creative I've become, the more I realized I need people to help me do what I need
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
So I was always an athlete that liked to be coached, but I now need to be surrounded by a
Mm,
team of people because
mm,
I don't have the bandwidth to always, as motivated as I am, to take all the steps I need by myself. So I thank goodness I can play tennis now. That's big for me, but I don't go and just work out on my own. I have scheduled time with someone who makes sure that's a commitment I have.
yeah.
So I say this because you're describing that you work with some very well accomplished people that have hard charging lives, and to
Yeah.
make these they may not be able to do it alone.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
So ask for help, right?
one of the first things that I will do with one of my one-on-one clients is go spend 2 days together doing as little as possible. And it's
Wow.
incredibly challenging for people
I can imagine.
because these are,
What a great idea, though. What a
it's like
great idea.
leave your phone in your room,
Huh.
like we're just gonna, maybe we'll go for a walk, maybe we'll have a conversation. I never know exactly what's gonna show up in those 2 days.
Sounds like detox, Jeff. It sounds like
It's
detox.
exactly what it's designed to do. It's like get all the
Good for you.
cortisol and all the stuff out of your
Yeah.
system, and you end up thinking about the world totally differently.
Love it.
Yeah.
Who's the therapist here? Who's the real therapist?
I am not a therapist, but I
Well,
have
coaching
done.
and therapy, there is a fine line. It's an important fine
There
line.
is, and
There is.
certainly there's a lot of deep personal work that goes into the work that I do,
Yeah.
and I
But you've done
really,
the work yourself,
yeah,
which helps you do the work with others. So
right,
I love that.
yeah,
This has
absolutely,
been so fun to talk with you. Thank you
yeah,
for
I've
being
loved it.
one. Let's tell the listeners where they can find you and where they can tell them more about your framework and how you approach before we sign off.
Yeah, I mean, I really start from a foundation of understanding that you're always and exclusively experiencing the world through your own thinking, and not we can never experience the world. We can only experience it through what's happening in our brains, and that's our story, our culture, our beliefs, all of that. And the more you become aware of that,
Hmm.
the more you're actually able to see through it and create something different, create something consciously, create something intentionally.
Hmm.
And
It's a
so
foggy lens. It's a foggy lens, isn't it?
it's a very foggy lens, and it never completely goes away, but the
No.
more aware of it you become, the more intentional you can be in the world.
Yeah.
And when I was talking about pick now earlier, one thing I hear from people all the time is I'm just I would love to work with you, Jeff, but I'm just too busy right now. There's all this stuff
Yeah.
going on, and call me in 3 months or
Yeah.
6 months. And they don't get that they're creating the busyness,
Of course. Yeah. It's like
that they
water. It'll
that
flow.
they need the
Yeah.
busyness, right?
Yeah.
And the pick now tool very quickly gets someone to like, oh, it's not that I can't get stuff done. I can totally get stuff done. What I've been doing is creating this ongoing monologue in my head where I keep not doing the same things over and over again and
Right.
calling it busy,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Busy is a distraction.
I don't want
Yeah.
to face what's on the other side of that.
Yeah.
These uncomfortable questions like, why am I actually doing this? What do I actually want? Because then I might need to act, and that's uncomfortable too.
Yeah.
And that's where I am with people all along that path, is kind of being there in the discomfort with them.
Well, I love that you're there with people. So that's the key, is that this discomfort doesn't you don't have to be alone in it. You just have to be ready to be with it.
And it's really good discomfort,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
on the other side of it is something so amazing, like you haven't even anticipated yet.
So how can people get in touch with you?
So You can send me an email, jeff@jmunn.com. You
So you
can
spell that because some of us are dyslexic, Jeff.
J M like Mary, U N like Nancy, N like Nancy.com. That's my
Two N's.
website too, jmunn.com. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. There aren't too many Jeff Munns on LinkedIn. There, you'll need to make sure you're going for the right one, but I think I'm
Just if it's not a picture of the
yeah,
homecoming
it's a picture of
king,
me.
it's
Yeah.
not a picture of the homecoming king.
But yeah, I've got a YouTube channel. You
Okay.
can subscribe to that. There's all kinds of ways to
To
kind
reach
of
out.
reach out, start digging into my head, and see what resonates with you. Yeah,
That's great. Well,
yeah.
thank you for the work that you're doing and for
Thank
being
you.
here today. And I look forward to staying in touch. So
Yeah, it
thanks
sounds
for being
great.
on the podcast. I
I
really
really
appreciate
enjoyed
it.
this, Christine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.